Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. I'm sorry it has been so long, but today we are continuing with our Bible readings. I am still using the Scriptures translation. So, get your coffee, get your Bible, and let's read. We are starting in Numbers chapter 16. And Korah, son of Yitzhar, son of Kehath, son of Levi, took both Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben. And they rose up before Moshe with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, called ones of the meeting, men of name. And they assembled against Moshe and against Aaron, and said to them, Enough of you, for all the congregation is set apart, all of them, and Yahweh is in their midst. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahweh? And when Moshe heard, he fell on his face, and spoke to Korah and all his companions, saying, Tomorrow morning Yahweh shall make known who is his and who is set apart, and bring him near to him. And let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this, take fire holders, Korah and all your company, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahweh chooses is the set apart one. Enough of you, sons of Levi. And Moshe said to Korah, Hear now, you sons of Levi. Is it little to you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to perform the service of the dwelling place of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to serve them? And that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you? Yet you seek the priesthood as well? Therefore you and all your company are set against Yahweh. And Aaron, what is he that you grumble against him? And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they said, We are not coming up. It is little that you have brought us up out of the land of flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, that you would also seize total rule over us? Also you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Would you bore out the eyes of these men? We are not coming up. And Moshe became very displeased, and said to Yahweh, Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I done harm to any of them. Then Moshe said to Korah, Tomorrow you and all your company shall be here before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron. And take each one his fire holder, and you shall put incense in it. And let each one bring his fire holder before Yahweh. 250 fire holders, and you and Aaron, each one with his fire holder. So each one took his fire holder and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tent of appointment with Moshe and Aaron. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of appointment. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment. But they fell on their faces and said, O Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, you wroth with all the congregation? And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the congregation, saying, Move away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moshe rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, Please turn away from the tents of these wrong men. Do not touch whatever belongs to them, lest you be consumed in all their sins. Then they moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moshe said, By this you know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, that they are not from my own heart. If these die as all men do, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahweh has not sent me. But if Yahweh creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens up its mouth, and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have scorned Yahweh. And it came to be, as he entered speaking all these words, that the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households, and all the men with Korah with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into Sheol, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Israel who were round about them fled at their cry, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up." And a fire came out from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Say to Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the fire holders out of the blaze, for they are set apart, and scatter the fires some distance away. The fire holders of these men who sinned against their own lives, let them be made into beaten plates as a covering for the slaughter place, because they brought them before Yahweh, therefore they are set apart. And let them become a sign to the children of Israel." And Eleazar the priest took the bronze fire holders, which those who were burned up had brought, and they were beaten out as a covering on the slaughter place, a remembrance to the children of Israel, that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aaron should come near to offer incense before Yahweh, and not be like Korah and his company, as Yahweh had said to him through Moshe. But all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and against Aaron on the next day, saying, "You have killed the people of Yahweh." And it came to be, when the congregation assembled against Moshe and against Aaron, that they turned toward the tent of appointment. And see, the cloud covered it, and the esteem of Yahweh appeared. And Moshe and Aaron came before the tent of appointment. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Arise from amidst this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment." And they fell on their faces. So Moshe said to Aaron, "Take the fire holder and put fire in it from the slaughter place, and lay incense on it, and go. Hurry to the congregation and make atonement for them, for wrath has gone out from Yahweh, the plague has begun." And Aaron took it as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the assembly, and saw that the plague had begun among the people. And he laid on the incense and made atonement for the people, and stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. And those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died on account of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moshe at the door of the tent of appointment, for the plague had stopped. So, Korah thinks he's better than Moshe and Aaron, and accuses Moshe and Aaron of putting themselves above everybody else, while trying to put themselves above everybody else. He went against God's will. God gave him a job, a duty, and he wanted more. He was greedy. And a lot of people died for it. And then the rest of the congregation is like, "Moses and Aaron, you're killing your, God's people." And more people died. They grumbled against God, against Moshe, against God's will, and they paid the ultimate price. Chapter 17. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel, and take from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each one's name on his rod. And write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi, for there is one rod for the head of each father's house. You shall then place them in the tent of appointment before the witness, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose buds, and I shall rid myself of the grumblings of the children of Israel, which they grumble against you." And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and all the leaders gave him a rod each, for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. So Moshe placed the rods before Yahweh in the tent of the witness. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe went into the tent of the witness, and saw that the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had budded, and brought forth buds, and blossomed, and bore ripe almonds. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahweh to all the children of Israel, and they looked, and each man took his rod. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Bring Aaron's rod back before the witness, to be kept as a sign among the rebels, so that you put an end to their grumblings." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Bring Aaron's rod back before the witness, to be kept as a sign against the rebels, so that you put an end to their grumblings against me, lest they die." And Moshe did as Yahweh had commanded him, so he did. And the children of Israel spoke to Moshe, saying, "See, we shall die, we shall perish, we shall all perish. Anyone who comes near the dwelling place of Yahweh dies. Shall we be consumed to die?" They just can't stop grumbling. But the Father performs a miracle here and makes a staff a dead piece of wood, blossom, flower, and produce almonds. Imagine seeing that and still grumbling. Chapter 18. And Yahweh said to Aaron, you and your sons and your father's house with you are to bear the crookedness against the set-apart place, and you and your sons with you are to bear the crookedness against your priesthood. But bring with you your brothers of the tribe of Levi too, the tribe of your father, to join you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tent of the witness. And they shall guard your charge and the duty of all the tent, but they do not come near the furnishings of the set-apart place and the slaughter place, lest they die, both they and you. And they shall be joined with you and guard the duty of the tent of appointment for all the service of the tent, but a stranger does not come near you. And you shall guard the duty of the set-apart place and the duty of the slaughter place, so that there be no more wrath on the children of Israel. And see, I myself have taken your brothers, the Levites, from the midst of the children of Israel, a gift to you, given by Yahweh, to do the service of the tent of appointment. But you and your sons are to guard your priesthood for all matters at the slaughter place and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I have given you the priesthood as a gift for service, but the stranger who comes near is put to death. And Yahweh spoke to Aaron, and see, I myself have given you the charge of my contributions, all the set-apart gifts of the children of Israel. I have given them to you for the atoning, and your sons as a law forever. This is yours of the most set-apart gifts from the fire, all their offerings, all their grain offerings, and all their sin offerings, and all their guilt offerings, which they render to me, are most set apart for you and your sons. Eat it in the most set-apart place, every male eats it, it is set apart to you. This also is yours, the contribution of their gifts. With all the wave offerings of the children of Israel, I have given them to you, and your sons and daughters with you as a law forever. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All the best of the oil, and all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits, which they give to Yahweh, I have given them to you. The first fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring to Yahweh, are yours. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All that is dedicated in Israel is yours. Everyone opening the womb of all flesh, which they bring to Yahweh, whether man or beast, is yours. But to ransom, you shall ransom the firstborn of man, and the firstborn of the unclean beast you ransom. And ransom their ransomed ones when 1 new moon old, according to your valuation, 5 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set-apart place, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat you do not ransom. They are set apart. Sprinkle their blood on the slaughter place, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And their flesh is yours, as the wave breast and the right thigh it is yours. All the contributions of the set-apart gifts which the children of Israel present to Yahweh, I have given to you and your sons and daughters with you as a law forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahweh with you and your seed with you. And Yahweh said to Aaron, you are not to have an inheritance in their land, nor have any portion in their midst. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. And see, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for their service which they are serving, the service of the tent of appointment. And let the children of Israel no more come near the tent of appointment, lest they bear sin and die, because the Levites shall do the service of the tent of appointment. So they themselves bear their crookedness, a law forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they are to have no inheritance, but the tithes of the children of which they present as a contribution to Yahweh, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. That is why I have said to them, among the children of Israel they have no inheritance. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you take from the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you shall present a contribution of it to Yahweh, a tenth of the tithe. And your contribution shall be reckoned to you as grain from the threshing floor, and as filling from the winepress. Thus you also present a contribution unto Yahweh from all your tithes, which you receive from the children of Israel. And you shall give from it to the contribution to Yahweh, to Aaron the priest. From all your gifts you present every contribution due to Yahweh, from all the best of them, the set apart of them. And you shall say to them, when you have presented the best of it, then the rest shall be reckoned to the Levites, as the yield of the threshing floor, and as the yield of the winepress. And you shall eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your reward for your service in the tent of appointment. And bear no sin because of it, when you have presented the best of it, and do not profane the set-apart gifts of the children of Israel, lest you die. So when they get to the land, every tribe gets their own inheritance, except the Levites. The Levites do not get the land, but the Levites, because they have these jobs with the tent of appointment, they will get part of what everybody else tithes or sacrifice offerings, whatever, to the Father. So they still get, it's like a payment for their job. They don't have the time to cultivate land as much as everybody else because of their duties with the tent of appointment. So in return, they get to have most of the tithing, actually. They still have to tithe, but it comes from what everybody else is giving. And that is the end of the reading for today. I hope you are following along in your own Bible. Don't take my word for it. And I hope you join us again next Saturday. May the Father bless you. Shalom.